Hey guys, it's Miss Marflack. We're going to go over our homework from the day before, and that's going to be practice 8-4, and we're going to be taking a look at the number 12 through 46 evens. All right, don't be worried if this was, a little tough. The multi-step is definitely harder than maybe some of the ones from the last lesson. All right, taking a look at number 12, just for the sake of saving time, I'm not going to rewrite the problems, so really open up that packet and take a look at the problems while we're doing them together. This is going to be an application of our quotient property, and our goal is to write as a single log. So we go from subtraction with one log to subtraction with two logs to division with one log. And then we can simplify inside those parentheses there, and 25 over 5 is 5. And then we can't evaluate that because we don't know a number that's 6 to that power is equal to 5. We're going to take a look at the next one. Here we are, 14. 14 is an application of the power rule first. We want to get rid of that number in front of the log, so we bring it to be a power. And the same thing with that 2 in front of the log. And then now we have a subtraction with 2 logs, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do division with 1 log. And then I can simplify this, x to the 5th, and then I subtract the x to the 2nd, and I get x to the 3rd. All right, I should box in my answers here. There's the answer for the first one, and here's the answer for 14. All right, moving on to number 16. 16, we work left to right first. So first I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a quotient property with those first 2 logs. And then now I just have plus the log 6. And then now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our product property, and I can multiply now by 6, but wait a second, that's 6 over 1. All right, and then we have log, and then 7 times 6 is 42. And then you can use a calculator. Miss Marflack will do it off to the side here. 3 goes into 4 1 times. 3, we got 12, and that is 14. So when we do 42 divided by 3, we get 14. So we worked left to right. First we combined with quotient, then we combined with product, and this 6 is 6 over 1, so it ends up going in the numerator. All right, and then we divided and simplified, and there we are. All right, taking a look at number 18, we're going to start off by getting rid of those numbers in front by using our power property. So I'm moving the 1/3 to be on top of the s as an exponent, and the 1/4 to be on top of the t. Now you can leave them as fractional exponents, or you can go ahead and convert that to a radical. I'm just going to leave it like that for right now. And then we're going to work left to right. So first I'm going to combine with the product property. So combining those 2. And then I still have this log t to the 1/4. And then now still working left to right, I have a quotient property because I have subtraction here. So we have everything that's up in our numerator and then divided by t to the 1/4. If you don't like that, you can go ahead and write it in radical form. All right, so we have square root of r, we have cube root of s, and we have our 4th root of t. And then that could be our final answer, or the step before. All right, so we did 18. Here we are. We're going to move on to 20. No. Okay, 20. All right, first thing, we have to use that power property and bring that 5 to be a power on top, bring that 2 to be a power on top. All right, and then you can evaluate this first if you'd like. You can simplify this to 32, and you can simplify this to 4, or you can go ahead and just go straight to the quotient property. And then remembering those property of exponents, when we divide, we subtract the exponent. So that's going to be 2 to the 3rd, and that's going to be log 8. And then see that would have been the same answer as if you did 32 divided by 4, that would have been log 8 as well. All right, moving on to another one. Here we are, 22. Same thing like the last one, bringing that power condensing using the power property, except on the last two we don't have any power, so it's just this one here. And then now we can combine with multiplication. I'm going to do them all three at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to use that product property, and I'm going to have 4 squared times 2 times 2. Well, here we are. You can definitely use a calculator here. This is going to be 16, this is going to be 32, and then that's going to be 64. And then you don't have to use the parentheses there, okay? Here we are, next one, 24. Ooh, we're just working left to right. So first I'm going to combine using that product property. All right, and then here we're going to get 8. And then I'm going to combine using the quotient property. We're going to have 8 over 7. There's 24. All right, we'll fit 26 down here. Let's see, 26. Is that the one I just did? Yes, I think I just did 26 by accident. This one's 26. Sorry if I confused you. That one was 26. We're going to take a look now going back, and we're taking a look at 24. 24, combining with the power property first, power. And then now we have the 3 combines with the 2, and we're going to multiply those, and that's going to be x to the 6. And then now we're going to use our product property, and when we multiply exponents with the same base, we add the exponent. Add the exponent, and there's our final answer. All right, so I did 24, and I accidentally did 26 here, so now we're on 28. 28. All right, 28 is an interesting one because we have parentheses there. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually distribute that parentheses to distribute the 1/3 to both terms in parentheses so that I can get rid of that parentheses. So that's what I'm doing first, distributing it to both terms. All right, and then now we can see that that's an application of our power property. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move that 1/3 to be a power on top of the variable. And then now it's a quotient property because I have that subtraction with 2 logs, and we're going to go to division with 1 log. You can leave your answer like this, or I like to, I think it looks a little nicer when you have the radicals. All right, either or, it doesn't really matter. And there we are for 28. All right, stay focused. We're almost done here. We're going to take a look at 30. Number 30, same thing. It's interesting. We have the distribution of that 3 to get rid of those parentheses, and I think I did this one on an earlier video. And then now we go ahead and we use that power property, and we're going to have log t to the 24. And there's our answer for 30. I'm going to squeeze 32 over here. 32, now our directions have switched. Instead of condensing, we are expanding. So I have 3 things multiplied here for 32, so I can separate them so that they each have their own log, and we're going to addition. All right, so with the condensing earlier, our goal was to get to 1 log, and now with the expanding, we're trying to expand fully, and we're going to see that every single term has its own log there. All right, that was 32. We're going to take a look at 34. I see everything joined here with multiplication, so I'm going to separate everything joined with multiplication, and they're each going to get their own log. And even though we expanded, we have not expanded fully yet, because that middle term, you can apply the power property and expand even more. And then now when I look, every term has its own log, and I don't have any exponents that are all brought to the front with the power property. We are done with 34. 36 I did on a previous video, so if you want to fast forward through 36, you can. I'm going to do it again anyway. Our first step is to get rid of that radical and to go ahead and rewrite it as an exponent. Now we got to be careful. Everything inside the parentheses is to the 1/2 power, so that 1/2 is going to go in the front for every single term when we continue to expand. I'm going to do one step at a time here, moving that power to the front. And then now I see here the division. I do have multiplication, but first I have to do the division and separate them. So I'm going to separate them with the division, but keeping in mind that each log still gets that 1/2. So the power was not just in the numerator, but also with the denominator. That's why we have the 1/2 here when we go with the quotient property. And then now I have all these, terms multiplied here. I'm going to expand using our product property. All right, but once again, the 1/2 goes to every single term. So it's going to the 2, it's going to the R, it's going to the S, and then here's the last one, it's going to the T. So I just expanded this part here. Now I have to expand this part. So I'm going to put this subtraction sign. I wish I wrote kind of smaller here, but I'm going to put it here. Subtract 1/2 log 5, and then the 5 is being multiplied, so we're going to switch to addition and get our own log, 1/2 here, log W. Now I do have to be careful because in our denominator, we have the 5 and the W grouped together. So I'm going to have to group these, okay? Now, since this looks really ugly, I'm just going to rewrite our final answer here, trying to kind of get it all on one line. Now, the numerator does not need to be grouped together because when you work from left to right with the condensing, it will condense to everything being in the numerator. You could distribute this negative here if you want. I'm just going to leave it without distributing, and I'll keep reminding you guys to group anything that was together in the denominator. All right, 36 is probably like the hardest problem I think you can see. You can see we have this really kind of obnoxiously long answer, but that's the hardest problem you'll probably ever see. Okay, we made it through 36. We're almost done. I think I said that a few minutes ago, though. And here we are. We're going to take a look at 38. 38. All right, we're expanding, and now we have a negative power. All right, but that -5 is not an exponent on the 5. It is just an exponent on the x. All right, so first I can go ahead and I can split with the product property because the 5 and the x are being multiplied together. But notice how the -5 is just with the x. It's not with the 5. And then now I can expand just a little bit more using that power property. So we're going to have plus -5 log 5 of x. Now, if you'd like, you can simplify further because we do know that 5 to the first power is 5, and then we have -5 log 5 of x. All right, you don't have to do that. You could leave it at this step here if you'd like. All right, we're going to take a look here now at 40, and that whole thing is in parentheses. So the 3 is being squared, the x is being squared, the y is being squared, and then the z. So there I am, expanded. Now, we're not fully expanded because now we have all these powers that I can bring to the front to fully expand. So you may see at the end, kind of check and make sure that there's no other property you can use. All right, here we are fully expanded. All right, and then you can kind of just double check, well, is there anything I can simplify? 4 to what power is 3? I don't know. So that's okay, we're going to leave that here. This is our final answer. All right, we're going to take a look at 42. Just 3 more to go. These are nice because you don't have to actually solve them. You just have to list out what property you would use to get the one side to look like the other. And in 42, you would use the power property to bring that 6 on top of the 2, and then 2 to the 6 would be 64. Looking at 44, 44 also would be a power property because you'd bring that 1/3 on top of the x to be an exponent, and then you convert to radical form. And then here's the last one, 46. First, you would use your power property to bring that 3 on top of the x, and then we would have to combine with one more property, and that would be our quotient property. All right, I know that these were a little tough. Log properties can be really difficult, especially when you start getting like really, long answers like number 40 or, an answer like number 36 was really long. All right, but the important thing is that you know all the properties, and that, when we're really looking at multi-step, we're looking at a few like, 16 and 20 would be good things that you can kind of see on a quiz. All right, so really know those properties inside and out, and then email me if you have any questions. All right, bye guys.